In American folklore, there is a horrifying creature that prowls the countryside, the Ozark Howler. The Howler has gone by many different names. It's been called the bear cat, the nightshade bear, the hoo-hoo, or the devil cat. The howler is described as being a large animal that is roughly the size of a bear, with black or dark grayish colored shaggy fur. Oftentimes it's described as having horns, similar to that of an antelope, and of course the red glowing eyes. But the most famous trait of the howler is its howl. Its howl is horrific, hence how the howler got its name. It's been described as being a mix of several different animals. It sounds part wolf's howl, part elk's bugle, and just enough of a woman's screaming thrown in to chill your blood. Sightings have been reported all the way back to the early 1800s, the most famous being that of Daniel Boone. Now America's most beloved frontiersman is rumored to have encountered the howler not once, but twice. The first encounter was in 1810 in what is now known as Cuba, Missouri. Boone first saw the beast in the middle of a hunting trip on the Platte River. What's interesting is that the tale didn't come as a secondhand story, but came directly from Boone himself as he wrote it in a letter to his sister-in-law. It read, "I leave you with an alarming story of a black creature I found and wounded on the Cedar Creek. Black and swarthy with horns on its scalp. Ignorant of its name, I am told of the sound it makes with a terrible howling in the night. Warnings of this for settlers should be passed along. Your humble servant, Daniel Boone." It's in broken English, bad grammar and misspellings making it hard to read. Now Boone was a famed hunter known for his prowess with a rifle, an excellent marksman. He had been trained as a hunter from his youth by the Lenape tribe in Pennsylvania. If he had shot to kill it with his .44 caliber flintlock rifle, it would have been dead, if not for the creature's exceptional speed and agility. Now legend has it that he came across the howler a second time years later, but the outcome is up to debate. In one version, Boone kills the howler and has it mounted as a trophy. In another version, the howler ends up at Boone's house as he's outside walking his property line without his rifle. In this version, Boone and the beast lock eyes for a while, before the beast turns and limps away, insinuating that this was the beast that Boone had wounded years earlier. It makes for quite a story, but you can take it for what it is, being that there's no solid evidence. There have been numerous sightings over the years since then. In 1946, after World War II, a group of vets moved to an area outside of Red Oak, Oklahoma, and worked at building a small community of homes. But, unfortunately, they had chosen to build too close to the howler's territory. It's rumored that the beast relentlessly attacked them, terrorized and stalked the families until they finally moved away. In 1976, a man claims to have shot a howler and killed it in Texas, yet there was no evidence. Later, in the 80s, a truck driver claims to have seen one crossing the road. And still later, in 98, another hunter in Branson, Missouri, claims to have killed one, once again with no evidence. And most recently, in 2015, a man named John Myers claimed to have photographic evidence, which he gave to the newspapers that ran it and posted the photos. Later, though, these photos were confirmed to be fake. It seems that real proof was hard to come by. Yet there are two different accounts that are hard to dismiss. The first being of a church in 1907. It was the Cumberland Presbyterian Church in Russellville, Arkansas, now known as the Central Presbyterian Church. This church had a stained glass window that included a picture of the Ozark Howler. But when the new minister joined the congregation, he insisted on its removal, saying that he wouldn't serve in the shadow of the Ozark Howler because the image was demonic idolatry. He then seized a candlestick from the altar and threw it through the stained glass window, breaking it. Now the next account is even more interesting. It involves an American president. Actually, two American presidents. It begins with Teddy Roosevelt back in the days when he was with the Rough Riders. One of his fellow soldiers was a man named John C. Greenway, and he told Roosevelt about the Ozark Howler. It seems that Greenway had grown up as a boy in the Ozarks. Well, the story fascinated Teddy, who was quoted as saying it sounded like a bully good beast that embodied the robust physical character of the growing American nation. And he was interested in actually changing the national animal from the bald eagle to the Ozark Howler. The future president listened to all Greenway had to tell him and then sought out others who shared his interest. Roosevelt's good fortune was that there was an organization in Arkansas that had already been formed to deal with the threat of the howler. A conservation group named the International Concatenated Order of the Hoo-Hoo. It was a secret society dedicated to dealing with the danger presented by the Ozark Howler. After Roosevelt became president in 1908, he established protected zones of territory where the howler would be allowed to roam undisturbed, and kept away from the human population centers by a network of armed agents. After Roosevelt died, he was replaced by Warren G. Harding as president. Harding was also a member of the Order of the Hoo-Hoo. Quite a coincidence. Two presidents, both members of the same organization to contain the howler. It makes for quite a story. Horned beasts, presidents, crazy preachers, it has it all. So believe it if you will. It's a crazy story that's hard to believe, but if you're alone in the woods at night and you hear the howlers cry, I wouldn't stick around to meet it. So if you've enjoyed this content and would like to hear more, then please hit like and subscribe.